Imagine you are on a boat trip with your family in the blue sea. The water stretches far and wide and everything looks normal. But then, in an instant, everything changes. Suddenly, the seawater disappears and you are stranded on a desolate land at the bottom of the sea. Then, what will happen to you? And what will you do? Even where did all the water in the sea suddenly go? And will the water ever return again? Let's find the answers to thousands of such questions in this picture, which will make you gasp. A family is vacationing on their boat in the Caribbean islands. Mother Julia jumps into the water to swim. While resting, she feels something strange, but since she can't see anything around her, she thinks it might be her hallucination. A few seconds later, the same strange feeling returns. This time, she can't see anything. But now she panics and starts swimming towards the boat. Suddenly, someone starts pulling her legs and she screams for help. Her daughter Cassie is listening to music with headphones on, so she can't hear anything. Meanwhile, her husband, Tom, and son, Ben, are busy fishing. Julia tries to stay above water, but the water gets in her mouth, making it difficult for her to scream. After a while, Tom realizes that Julia has not been seen for a long time. He starts looking for her at the water's edge and then sees his wife in danger. He screams for the children and jumps into the water. He quickly reaches Julia and catches her. Then he swims to the side of the boat and the children pull them both up. He comforts Julia, but Julia convinces herself that it must be because of the waves. At night, everyone celebrates Ben's birthday. Cassie gets a call from her boyfriend and goes outside with her laptop. On the video call, her boyfriend shows that a huge dark cloud has gathered over the city. Then the call suddenly freezes and is cut off. Cassie goes to tell her family about this, but Tom says that the network is probably weak because they are so far from land. Just then, everyone heard a noise, and they all went outside and saw a pod of whales. The pod was passing by. Tom explained that whales always follow the Earth's magnetic field, but when the storm hits, they get confused. Suddenly, the boat capsizes violently, and Ben falls off. Tom is worried that the boat is damaged, so he jumps into the water to check. A short while later, he comes back up with a large wound on his shoulder, and Julia immediately stitches it up. Tom explains that underwater, he felt like a huge creature was following him, but when he looked back, the propeller caught on it and cut him. He says that whatever it was huge. Tom sees that the yacht has been badly damaged, so they have to call for help. Julia tries the radio again and again. Cassie tries to find a signal on her phone, but nothing works. Then Cassie sees a strange creature and screams, but it is her brother Ben, wearing a mask and having fun. After a while, the yacht shuts down completely, and she is stranded in the middle of the ocean. Julia hears a voice on the radio, but the sound is so distorted that she can't understand anything. Tom tells the family that they only have 4 days of food and water left. They have to wait for the fishing boat. Suddenly, something is picked up on the radar, and they hear a strange noise. Everyone runs outside, and to their surprise, they see countless meteorites falling to the ground. Wherever the meteorites hit, there is a huge explosion. When one of the meteorites hits the water near them, Tom immediately tries to start the boat. The engine barely starts, but then another meteorite hits the area. The family hugs each other in fear. Then Tom realizes that the fireball that is falling is not a meteorite, but a satellite. Just then, Ben notices smoke coming out of the boat. Tom checks and confirms that the engine has failed. The wind is blowing hard, so the family hides inside the boat. The compass is spinning very fast. He doesn't notice, and the boat begins to shake violently. Ben falls again, this time injuring himself. The waves are crashing against the boat. Tom goes out and gets the life jackets. Just then, the power goes out. Tom immediately presses the button on the power box, and the lights come back on. Ben then notices that Julia is bleeding from her nose. Julia starts to feel dizzy, and Casey goes to the sink and vomits. Tom tries the radio, but there is no signal. Suddenly, there is a loud, piercing noise, and the wind starts blowing harder. Julia tries to close the door, but a hatch opens, and the wind begins to break the windows. Tom lights a flare, and after a while, darkness falls. The next morning, the family wakes up in shock after surviving the storm, but the boat is half destroyed. When they emerge, they find that all the seawater has disappeared, and the boat is now stuck on the ground. Everyone is shocked. Cassie checks her signal, but the network is completely disconnected. Ben starts playing with 2 dead crabs. Tom checks his compass and finds that it is upside down. The last time this happened was 700,000 years ago. Cassie thinks her boyfriend may have died, and she is devastated. Julia and Tom look at the remaining belongings. Ben ties his birthday balloons to a rock, hoping to see if anyone is alive. Tom tries to talk on the radio again, this time contacting a man named Now, who is a submarine captain. His submarine is also stuck on the ground. He confirms that the magnetic poles have reversed, causing the sea to retreat and the land to sink. He says that he has not yet seen any survivors, and that communication is completely cut off. He also says that the magnetic poles will reverse again, and the sea will probably recede within a week. He warns the family to get as high as possible, because when the water returns, the situation will be very dangerous. He says that his partner has died in the accident, and there is only room for 3 people on the submarine. Julia and Tom beg him to save their children. He gives them his coordinates. Tom calculates that it will take 2 to 3 days to reach the submarine. He tells the family to get a good night's rest. We'll leave tomorrow morning. The next morning, the family is packing up when Tom sees something moving nearby. A lame man is holding a harpoon, and a dog is barking incessantly. Tom goes up to him and gives him a bottle of water, but the man speaks in a language that Tom does not understand. After drinking the water, the stranger suddenly hits Tom on the head with the bottle and kicks him hard in the face. Julia runs away in fear, but it is too late. The man pierces Tom in the stomach with the harpoon. Tom struggles for a while, then the man cuts his neck. Then the man runs after Julia and throws the harpoon at her, which causes her shoulder to hurt. Julia, looking at the face, runs inside the yacht and tells the children to hide. She closes the door. Cassie and Ben hide under the sofa. Julia gives them the flare gun and hides in the bathroom with a knife. The man knocks on the door and finally gets inside. He starts searching around their yurt. Then he heads for the bathroom, but Julia sneaks out through a small hole. The man thinks Julia has escaped, but as he slowly walks away, his dog sees him and starts barking. The dog jumps on him, so Julia kills the dog with a knife. The man comes out after hearing the dog's screams and is furious when he sees his dog's dead body. Meanwhile, Julia tries to get in from the other side of the yurt. She climbs up and tries to sneak in through the broken window, but the man is already there. He grabs her and punches her hard, causing her to fall to the ground. Julia tries to escape by grabbing the furniture, but the man kicks her. Then he grabs her by the hair, slams her face into the ground, and starts to choke her. The children are watching all this. Cassie comes out and fires a flare gun, which hits the man directly. This sets him on fire, and the boat starts to burn. They immediately run away, but Julia comes back. She kicks him, pushes him out. She picks up the map in the bag and runs away. Ben and Cassie go to their father and start crying. Julia sits with them, and the 3 of them say goodbye to Tom in tears. Just then, the scary man comes out of the yacht again, and the family starts running again. A short while later, the yacht explodes with a loud explosion. After walking for a while, they stop near a small waterfall to rest. Cassie thinks that perhaps he came to them after seeing the balloons. Hearing this, Ben begins to blame himself. Julia explains to him that it was not his fault, and tells everyone to move on because the man is still following them. On the way, Ben is shocked to see a dead hammerhead shark near a small pond. Then Julia notices that the man is about to attack them again. Everyone runs and falls into a sand dune where they see toxic waste. The family carefully crosses it and thinks they have driven the man away. As they walk, they see huge dead sea creatures on the seabed, and a lot of plastic has accumulated. Ben starts walking slowly, so Julia realizes that they are close to dehydration. She tells everyone to stop. She is shocked to see the water bottle. The water in the bottle is almost gone. Cassie realizes that she probably didn't close it properly. Julia shouts angrily that her carelessness is the reason for the water running out. Cassie answers, and the two have a long argument. Nevertheless, the family continues. After a while, they see a crashed plane. Everyone is frightened when they see something moving inside, but it is just some birds. The family decides to spend the night inside the plane. They share a meal, and Julia finds a family photo on Tom's jacket. Seeing this breaks her heart. Cassie asks, "Mom, what was your love story with Dad?" Julia smiles and tells him, "Tom was my patient in the hospital. One day he proposed to me with flowers and a sweet poem." In the middle of the night, Casey gets off the plane. Just then, the ghostly man tries to grab him from behind, but Julia suddenly attacks him from behind and stabs him repeatedly, causing him to die. Casey hugs her mother and calms her down. The next morning, the man's body is infested with insects. The family notices numerous bite marks, indicating that a dangerous creature is lurking in the area. As they leave, crabs come out of its mouth. A few hours later, Julia and Casey are looking at a map, but Ben slowly walks past. Julia yells, "Stop!" but Ben leans into a pond and starts drinking water. Julia immediately pulls him out, explaining that the unknown water could make him sick. The sun is too hot, so they cover their heads with clothes. Ben's huge head, they were spinning. Then they found some old chairs. Julia and Casey made a makeshift shelter out of them. Julia gave Ben an injection, and they decided to spend the night there. In the morning, Julia woke up to a strange sound. She looked outside and saw a large group of crabs coming towards them. She immediately picked up the children, and the three of them started running. They ran and saw a large cargo ship. There were 3 sailors alive. One of the women tried to help them, but the other 2 men refused to help them and locked the container. That left the 3 of them outside. The crabs came forward, and Julia took the children to the top of the container. When she tried to climb up, the crabs bit her hard on the legs. The children pulled her up, otherwise she would have fallen. Some crabs entered through a hole in the container. The sailors opened fire, but crabs defeated them and killed both of them. The last man was in a hole in the ceiling, arrives, but crabs drags her down, and she too dies. Julia bandages her wound and falls unconscious. When she wakes up a short time later, she finds herself alone in the sandstorm. She panics and begins searching for the children. She raises the arms of a dead woman and screams loudly. Cassie hears her voice and returns, revealing that she and Ben went to look for help, but found no one. They then meet Ben, who finds an open container where they can stay until the storm passes. Julia takes Tom's lighter and applies it to her wound, which is extremely painful. After the storm subsides, they find another container containing several water bottles. While examining the bodies, they also find a radio and a gun. Julia contacts Now and tells her that the map is lost. Now explains that they have been attacked by arthropods, creatures that have gone completely crazy due to lack of water. Now tells them to hurry, because according to her devices, the sea will return sooner than expected, and they only have a few hours left. So she throws a flare, and the family starts walking in that direction. After a long walk, the family finds a broken toilet where Ben pees. They finally see the submarine nearby, but to get there, they have to cross a steep, rocky path. As they continue to cross, the walls begin to shake, causing a terrifying rock to collapse. Julia immediately pushes her children aside and steps back herself to avoid being crushed. Now there is a stone wall between them. Julia tells the children to go ahead without her, but Cassie refuses, and after much arguing and screaming, Julia promises. She says she will find her children later. Cassie helplessly drags her brother along. The children run down the rocky path to the submarine, but when they get there, they find the submarine lying on the ground, covered in blood. Now explains that her life is almost over. There can be 3 people in the submarine, and my chances of survival are slim, so even if I manage to escape the water and reach the surface, I still won't survive. Thinking there is room to spare, Cassie goes back to find her mother. Just then, Julia sees the crabs coming and shoots. She kills a few, but the swarm is too big to fight them all. Just then, Cassie comes and holds out her hand. Julia quickly starts climbing up despite her injured leg. With Cassie's help, she reaches the other side, and together they run towards the submarine. Ben is already standing on top and fires shots to distract the crabs. As soon as the crabs reach the boat's hull, they begin to bite it. Julia picks up her gun and keeps firing until the children get inside. When Julia realizes that she has run out of bullets, she fires the gun at the crabs and goes inside with her children. She goes inside and securely closes the hatch, and through the window she sees a swarm of crabs surrounding the submarine. Just then, the sea returns, and the 3 quickly sit down in their seats. Then they tie the ribbons and hold each other's hands. The strong waves begin to blow the submarine violently. Julia begins to watch the entire journey, and Casey vomits. Then there is a high-pitched whine, and the family is unconscious. After a while, Julia and her children regain consciousness. They arrive and are overjoyed to find themselves alive. They open the door and come out to see that the submarine has crashed into a devastated city due to the impact of the waves. And it is clear that humanity has been wiped out from the world, and they will have to start life anew. And with that, the film ends with this scene.